One, two, one, two. Oha, iha, chantoashte iha na pechikulus papelo. Ya le chani wa, o miniche wa, Oceti Sakowin le Treaty Conference. Ya hechi wa petu kilet hokea. Hoin kan dona yahib kon ila opila tranka ongeni chapi. Naha leche ya wampi lanak agapi naha agenda hechansa ta komini le wayi chumpikte. Naha hechi itrokab lena chanupa glohib naha ya hechi lechonsa le eglepi. Ho he tan ominiche onkiapshin ya lechi tona ya wocheki lena wachinia pikteko. Cha hechi igluya powana. Tahanshi Orville, looking horse tukte nakaho. Holecha uo, yeah. Honey le chanupa hekta kya opanre sam okisi tukte hechitu. Treaty chanupa honey le mkhpia luta trea you happy. Hoyukha hechi kolawa wendol yellowbo. Hey you nap you ha money. Hoyukha hechi lena glohibna ha ominiche le trokeon kiapshin hechasa ocheke nakaga piktecha heche kolama Rick two dogs tukte nakahe isis lecha u Rick Royal Yellowhawk Royal Elena wachunya picha Elena ocheke lena kaga pikte. You know, we always say if you don't understand my beautiful language, you better find an interpreter. Yeah. Hey, just kidding. You know, we are ready to have this pipe filling ceremony before we begin. And we call upon one of the keepers of the White Buffalo Calf Pipe, a relative, Orville, from Greengrass. And then all the way from Porcupine, we call upon Rick Two Dogs. And we're going to call upon Henry Quick Bear, if he's here. But before, there's always a protocol before we do anything with this treaty. And I want to thank each and one of you that are here participating. We have an agenda that we're going to go along. We'll check it. Then after that, we're going to go along with our welcome address.
Richard Moosecamp.
Oh, Tahashi, Diki, lecha nija shuo. Chokanta heche. Tahashi, la koya wicha kakahanto kachni. If you speak English to my Tahashi Diki Moosecamp, he doesn't understand. But if you speak Lakota, he understands. Yeah. Ho Ivan lecha chokate wina chanche ya glory. Lana ya chanupa o pari pe apiktek on china iglunya piktelo. Atanashi ite ogleze anaji. Wat ogleze.
I lost the keys. Go get it for about the whole summer and what's name. I called Phil and I can't find the keys. I said I don't think he wants to go in here. Yesterday afternoon they showed up, so I guess he wants to go. I guess. I don't know. Sometimes I wonder.
Nobody's not perfect.
Okay, they ready?
Okay. Yeah, I've been lecha one. Yeah, tona heche yahiko. Ja leche vojiču I čumpikteku. Ča ja tona aki I nažim na hava. Prosta I šloka na heche vala. Ja čanupu ovaka. Hektak ja opange. Uikčemna ke zampsam o kisi tuktawa heche le čanupa le yuhapi. Na ha mahpia luta le na čanupa ke le. Iha na pio mani yukha. Hektak ja umendel yalabu. Hekta kia wachia picha he trea ki le chanupa iha money chaya. Waya wana hechi oparelon. Waya kaya pikte. Please remove your caps and everything else then. Thank you. ea heche tuolo tona. Leche chanupa ea kachni rapi ea hani hektakia. Kakawi chai tona lana chanupa le wampi hani washichi la lana wampi glohipi na taku lana wampi lana oichaka kapi. Hoyukan hektakia. Wapi kantaha naha chanupa kanta iglusta lana taku lana he lehechumpi cha hechon le chanupa glohi. Where'd that sage go? Can you bring Claude up, please? Claude Tuyok. You know, there's always a protocol before we begin the meeting, and to explain briefly, the pipe that you see is about over 150 some years. It was a treaty pipe to the Red Cloud, Tioshpai, the family. Bring Claude over here. Bring Claude over here. Bring Claude over here. And We want to thank Wendell Yellowbull for bringing the pipe that was very, very to the relatives. And when they brought that pipe, it was a trustworthy of significance saying that we agree to your treaty, your obligations that you're going to propose to our Dakota, Lakota, Nakota people on this turtle island. And with that is what we still have today is the Treaty of 1851 and 1868. There's articles. Maybe our ancestors didn't know very well English, but to agree to touch that pencil saying, I agree to all these articles. So just briefly, I want to say that much, and I'm going to turn the mic over to the vice chair of the Lakota Treaty Council of the Rosebud Reservation, Oceti Shakoi, is going to do the welcome address, and after that, Phil Twigo. Phil Twigo is going to go first. He's going to welcome each and one of you. Then Claude will take over. Yeah, we'll pila hechalo.
Mi tanke pe iha chantewa stana pe choose pap. O shite ja chitina yahib unihitika wopila chicha. Leon petu yamani netan taku iwongla kokte kilena etchel oyate ki okachni kokte taksha unkitro kab nojin kilena. Ja hena huch ubukyuktishni. Ja aje takuma zoom yapcha. We're gonna opgak tak ja. Hoch oshite tak ja ihuni mo kipshin. Optebla washitu waglangte. I want to welcome everyone. My name is Phil Twigo. I'm the executive director of the Sichanga Lakota Treaty Council. My Lakota name is Trashunka Hisha. I'm very glad that you're here. I guess a pretty bad storm. I was out cruising around out there. It's not too bad, but it's probably going to get worse. It's supposed to snow probably till tonight, and maybe the plows will be out by tomorrow. So more people are coming. Some are probably still eating. I want to acknowledge all my elders here, all the treaty councils. We put this on for our Oceti Shakmoy Oyate to keep working on our treaty rights. In the last 2-3 years, we did get, with the help of my friend Andy Reid, we put together a letter to President Biden. We're still following up on that letter. We're asking for a meeting with the president, with the Oceti Shakoi, but it's been pretty difficult to try to get some time. And President Biden issued a executive order directing federal agencies to work with tribes on treaty rights to help honor the treaties. This year's agenda is pretty packed. We'd like to get some presentations here that are appropriate. Something I like to mention is inherent sovereignty. Hani oyate ki wichon hena benan woshake khaike. The way our people lived a long time ago, the language, the ceremonies, those are our sole source of sovereignty first. To practice our language and our ceremonies, especially our cultural sites here in the Black Hills and all across the country. We have sacred sites. The ancestral lands of the Oceti Shakoi extends from the Carolinas to the Canada to the Rocky Mountains. When they wrote the treaty, they forgot our territory in the Colorado area. They say that our people traveled into the mountains to gather medicine, different roots that grow up in the mountains. So those are still important to us. Um, things that I learned so far is that the 1851, 1868 treaties are templates that the federal government brought to us, and there was, to me, there was no negotiation. They just brought these treaties and said, look, you're going to do this, you're going to do that. There was no time for negotiation. They just wanted to, they probably knew about the gold in the Black Hills back then at that time. So we have to think about that. Um, we have opportunity here to work with President Biden's staff. We have a Native American in the Secretary of Interior position. We need to take advantage of that. Within the, it's only less than 2 years left, I think, depending on if Biden gets back in. So we have some work ahead. We have met with the USD Forestry uh, about co-management issues. Um, they're offering the Pactola Visitor Center to us. We're still working on that, and possibly Wind Cave. So we'll be managing those. I want to acknowledge the young people that are here. I brought my son over here too to learn. His name is Akichi Tuigo, and my niece is over here too, Jessica Tuigo. They brought some young people here to learn about the treaties. They're here to learn from you, um, things that they will need to carry forward into their lifetime. Some of the very important things to think about is the climate change. The land, makoche ki khal aya, meniki kapus aya, na naku ilukshang, toski chunko hong kigiluyang. We can't stop the climate change, but we can plan and prepare for it. We need our IRA governments to support any work towards the climate and the treaties. We're going on about 7 years now asking the IRA governments to create a treaty office on every reservation. So, you know, the thought behind that is that our forefathers went to Fort Laramie and signed the treaties for us. Article 6 of the 1851 Fort Laramie Treaty states that the federal government pledges to work with the chiefs and successors. That's right in the treaty, but here we are, our own people is not, how can they violate the treaty ourselves? When I can't even, Rosebud's the only one that has a treaty office. It's pretty interesting because when our tribal councils shift new elections every 2 years or 3 years, the treaty office doesn't shift. It's there. And our treaty councils representatives have 6-year terms. I'd like to have them lifetime terms. So at any time they don't want to serve on the treaty council, they can step down if they want. And we're heading towards that. So I want you to think about that. A lot of things coming into play, healthcare. We haven't addressed healthcare yet in this treaty conference because a lot of stuff is going on out there. Rosebud is working on compacting their IHS. Interesting thing that will go with that is we're going to create a nonprofit to go along with that hospital contracting so that any budget shortfalls we'll be able to raise money using a nonprofit organization. We have to start thinking innovative. And we haven't even started thinking about creating our own Oceti Sakowin economy. We need our own financial infrastructure. We need our own banking to create an economy, an indigenous, autonomous economy for our Oyate. Those are the thoughts that I want to put in your mind so that you can be thinking about that. We need to invest in our people. We need to lend money to our people so they can start businesses. They can buy a car or they can buy a house. And we need to create that financial infrastructure for that. If we do it as Oceti Sakowin, we're very powerful as Oceti Sakowin. This IRA government was brought to us and was forced upon us, and we've been trying to stand on that, but there's too many issues, there's too many problems, but not realizing that we could change our constitutions at any time we want to. Most importantly, remove the Secretary of Interior from our constitutions. Some of you have done that. The Yankton have done that. The Hunkpapa have done that. Through this conference, when if you're a presenter, if you have an hour slot, go for about 30 minutes, and then let our people talk. We need to hear them, what their ideas are, what their concerns are, so we can work towards that. We use this time to shape our work going forward. I may not know all of the issues. I think where's my counterpart, Justin? Have you guys seen him? If you see Justin, the fifth member of the Oglala Sioux tribe, send him to me. But I work very closely with the Oglala's fifth member. I'd like to work with all of you, but we need to set up. We need to be highly organized if we're going to get our Black Hills back. If we're going to work towards that, we need to create a treaty office on every reservation. And we have some pretty interesting topics today. Um, I don't know if my elder is here yet. Victor, he's going to talk about amending the IRA tribal governments into a traditional government. A lot of our people don't realize that you are living in a traditional government right now. Your Tiwahe is your traditional government. Your Tiwahe is one of those forces that shapes the future of the children. So if you're speaking Lakota to your children in your home, that's shaping the future. It's very important. Then you have the Tioshpaye, and then the Oshpaye and the Oyate system. Um, Later on, you're going to hear about the Indian Child Welfare Act, the Holland versus Burkine update with Chase Ironeyes, Andy Reid, and Aaron Daugherty of NARF. Aaron will be zooming in. Um, Something very interesting that I went to the link and I listened to that case. It's like 3.5 hours. You need to listen to that. Something that's very ironic is that we don't like plenary power, right? But here's this case that plenary power might save us. So it's pretty interesting. So when you get a chance, go to the NARF's website and take a look at that, the audio recording. You have to listen to it. There's also a transcript on there. Those are real important. Um, we got to do something about the uranium mining that's going on. Um, we have some couple of presentations. One of our young people, Uncle Jensen, has done a mercury and uranium water study. So that's going to be pretty interesting to you, what's going on out there. I encourage her to expand her study to include Cheyenne River and White River to see if there's any evidence out there. So that's going to be pretty interesting. One of our relatives from Canada, Ron Layman, will be here. Also, today we should have a Great Plains Water Alliance report. A lot of times we don't know what the other hand is doing. So I encourage these Oceti Sakowin organizations to come together and give us a report on what they're working on. Water is going to be, like I mentioned before, climate. Water is going to be top of the priority of subjects to keep an eye on, to keep it close to your heart, because the city of Rapid City is trying to access the Missouri River. They're trying to run a giant pipeline through the Missouri River. There's also talks of a reservoir in Gregory County. So they're trying to, the Washichu is panicking. They need water. So that's going to be a battle coming forward. So not trying to paint some doom and gloom, but I just want us to be ready to go to battle. And not to mention all the mining projects. In the back of the agenda, you'll see on page 9, you'll see some of those mining claims that are out there. The Sechango did submit a letter to President Biden and Holland to remove the Black Hills from the what do you call that? The Mining Act of 18 something. So there's kind of these kinds of work that are going on. International Treaty Council will give a report on their work by Zoom. On the last day, we have some pretty interesting stuff. Lakota War and Casualties, that'll be on by Zoom. They couldn't make it. David Bartecki, real-time applications of land sessions by Dr. Robertson. That should be pretty interesting. Just recently, you might have heard that you might have heard us say that we was working on a climate adaptation plan. Well, so the Sichangu, we have an adaptation plan, and we applied for the implementation plan for that, and we got awarded 1.7 million to create a climate center, Sichangu Climate Center. We'll be able to help other tribes that haven't worked on their plans to. Will be available to help with that process. There's a report by Faith Spot Eagle on the Pipestone Quarry. Amy Lewis of the Wild Foundation is here to talk about the Indigenous Global Council, and I hope to get a THPO report because the THPO is operated on treaty territory. So we would like to get a report from them to see what they're working on. The other thing is DNA, Indigenous data sovereignty, what to look for, what to plan and prepare for that with all the DNA stuff going on. So with that, I think I'll let Claude give the welcome address. He is the chairman of the Sichonga Treaty Council. And Claude, maybe we could get a moment of silence. We recently lost one of our members, Sam Highcrane.
Wopila. Atone ahipika wopila chicha. And I'll chomaste and pechuza. Mitaku Sitaku can tiati on kapika na oija the bed was to choose a pillow. I want to shake your hand and welcome you to the Che Sapa again, back to our homeland. This is our church. And we're all carrying DNA of our grandpas and grandmas years ago. We're carrying that DNA. And inside of us, we feel happy to see each other. See a lot of our relatives at breakfast and hearing the relatives shake each other's hand and talking Lakota. And makes my heart feel good to hear our Lakota language being spoken. Anyway, the encouragement of our Oceti Sakowin, we have an uphill battle because we want our IRA form of government to start recognizing our treaty. Some of you, new council and new administration for some of your tribes that are here, I thank you. I thank you for coming and showing that interest. That this is a critical issue, very critical, because some of the things we're big landowners, and we need to get that paper to be acknowledged by the long knives, Mila Hanskakehana Ableza. We want them to understand that that document is legal, that what was signed during that time. And I want to encourage all of you when you go home, encourage your leaders to establish the treaty office. I hear one council not prioritizing the treaty. and not even giving travel money or whatever to come to this meeting. And you need to understand that to work together, to help each other. That's what our grandfathers and grandmothers long time ago, they taught us wola kota. And wola kota is the root word of love, the root word of love. And why we learned, why we hung together for a long time is because of that. And it all came from Hatanka Oyate, watching and coming from the Buffalo Nation. And among Kashkon Oyate Kahana, Ola Petrolilo Osniat Hankalash, Oganashana Bankakija. I know a lot of our animal relatives out there probably finding a warm place to bear the snow out there. And anyway, today is a good day. Today, Ake Yokpia Hana Yahipi. So I really welcome you to this meeting today. And I thank Phil for putting together this meeting. It's hard work. It's hard work to do these things. And the cooperation that we're getting from those relatives of the other Ochetis. Ocheti Kiwi Ahani Hana Wanji. The Oceti started with one fire, and then as our population grew, it grew to another fire, and so on and so forth till we had exposure to the long knives, and it quit growing at 7, Oceti Sakowin. So the energy that's passed on from one teepee to the next teepee is through the passing on of the red coals from one teepee to the next teepee. I heard that was a way to, if they had a daughter, the in-laws, to share that love, and passing on that love with red coals. So we also have that in one of our spring equinox of the So I just want to, again, enjoy yourself. We have a lot of our young people enjoying themselves over here with this gathering. Again, the Sichong who might be coming out victorious again, but I just wanted to say it's going to be a good games and a lot of good competition, and everybody having sharing good sportsmen. So I just want to, I thank you very much for coming. Thank you, Washtela.
I have a quick announcement. Pecha Lazata Waji Transhio Yankee Steve Leader Church. He's from the RST CHR program. He'll be checking blood pressure, blood sugar, diabetes information in the back over here. Steve, can you wave there? He's got his rubber gloves on too, so it's very safe.
Oh, huh. I'm going to send Rick 2 dogs back there. Hey. Well, huh. Justin, nephew, come on up. They want you to say a few words. We're going to go right into our agenda. Victor DeVille, one of our Sichongo elders, won't able to be here, so we're going to go right into Justin here to say a few words. The 5th member of the Ogallala Sioux tribe.
I'm glad everybody made it up here safe. All the ones that are still traveling up here, we hope they make it up here in a good way. Want to welcome everybody to this treaty conference. As Phil talked about, we have a lot of things to prepare for with the coming I guess fights that we have with the water and with Rapid City. Getting catching Biden by the ear with the letter that we sent him last year. There's a lot of things that we worked on, a lot of important issues on there also with Cheyenne River and Ogallala's getting new presidents. It's one thing me and Phil are going to be really pushing for to get some movement on that letter, because there's, you know, I sent the letter to our president elect, and you know, it's something we need to sit down and really talk and plan out. You know, with all our tribes not having a established treaty office other than Rosebud, I think it's time for all us other tribes to catch up. And I worked on it the last term. We had a proposal. We just couldn't get it funded. But now, getting a fresh start, a lot of the council members that got voted back in, and the new ones that came in were really getting that movement with them, making them realize how important the treaty office is for each of our reservations. And you know, not only we established the Black Hills Sioux Nation Council on Pine Ridge. We seated our members last year at this conference. So we got that we can build off of. And you know, it's one thing that I've mentioned here that we need to get into our younger adults, the ones that are, you know, actually at colleges. I know there's a student at California that's really been taking a lot of serious attention to the treaties. So I see some younger faces in here. So, you know, that's kind of my nudge to you guys to really look forward, or really look for treaty education. Because as you guys realize, we're all getting older, but still the older ones have a lot of information that they need to pass on. And that's one thing that we need to center on also. We hope we're gonna have a good, productive 3 days. There's things that we need to talk about, some heavier issues that we need to put out there, and I got to talk with Phil and see how we're gonna request that, because I know on our reservation we have probably about 3 or 4 different treaty groups, and it's gonna be my job to you know, get them in a big room and try to hash out who is who and what everybody is working on. Because, you know, I think it's time we all start working together. And, you know, we know older people that say they have writings and teachings from their parents and their grandparents, and we hope that we don't lose it with them. So, you know, it's going to be a lot of hard work for the Ogalas, but you know, it's something I've chose to take on, and we're gonna do our best. I think that'll be it for now. I know I'm on the agenda later. I didn't see my name this early, so my coffee didn't kick in, my halls didn't kick in, so we just give a little welcome, and again, thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Justin. A lot of times we know that other reservations don't have a treaty office, and it's kind of to have a priority as you establish to work together. I know that there's a lot of treaty organizations, a lot of oral teachings, and a lot of directions. But there's only one treaty, the 17 articles that were made on 1868 and 1851. We may have a lot of treaty organizations, but there's only one paper, 2 papers of the treaty that was made. So with that, we'd like to call upon my Tanshi Orville Looking Horse, come up and say a few words, and then we're going to go right into call out Rick Two Dogs for the Lakota ceremonial calendar. We wogala kinkte wayu kanki lena hani lena hechumpicha lena ya hechi waya trinkte. Chakalapana, one of the white buffalo calf pipe keeper from Greengrass, Orville, looking horse.
Apetikale yo chante washten pe chuzap. Naha. Atona ye hipi hinha bale ha wanajipi ki taku eche ota apajija winajipi chake na yuha taku war chi chanupi nukin wupila tranka eche. I'd like to say blessings to all of you, my relatives. And it's an honor to be here today. We speak about the treaty, a peace treaty. And, I grew up with the elders, listened to the treaties all my life. In 1966, Machuaki Makashinaki, my grandmother's Lucy, when she passed on into the spirit world, she told the people that I would be the next Chanupa Wanka, 1966. And the elders, they did a ceremony after. They told me that through our ceremonies, we follow spirit. And I was chosen through ceremony by my grandmother. So 4 days, I remember. And after the 4th day, I realized it was becoming age. And after the 4th day, they put out everything new, gave me new clothes, did everything. And to pick up that chanupa. But before that, they put a wapkaha on me, a headdress. And then after that, they had me pray to the grandfathers, to the four winds, the Great Spirit, Mother Earth. But during those days, the elders told me to be a sacred bundle keeper, a lot of responsibility. I could never join military. I could never carry a gun. Wawachwala, to live in peace. Not to use foul language. Taku le chejita wagla kekele trunkashla nachunkte. Whether we say the Great Spirit would look upon you. always stand in our Hochuka with the Chanupa to believe in that spirit of the Hochuka to live, to protect, to honor our ceremonies. Always believe in our traditional medicine. But the Wakantaka would help you every day. Get up with the Tawachi Wash Day to live this day. So the old ones, they say that, live this day like it's your last day. To have that compassion, to have that love, to always speak the language, the sacred language. So I never raised my hand under the U.S. flag. As a sacred bundle keeper. I never joined military as sacred bundle keeper. The older ones say, don't ever trust the Washichu. You can stand upon the earth with that Chanumpa and Tonkashla Mangala Kinichukti, Nawoki Nichukti. You can stand upon the earth with that Chanumpa on your 2 feet. This is your sovereignty. Everything that comes through that Wopre, the law of Wopre, that Chanumpa. Only the good shall see the pipe. The bad should not even see or touch it. That you're going to stand and open your hands. That whatever you say and do with that Chanumpa, it's got to be pure. Because sami he Chanumpa kile makakan ioniha manikte. Na pejuta yachu ina wachikya manikte. We know we are faced with love, hardship. The Washichu come, made man-made laws. They brought the black book, like the old ones say, and we stand with you with the Chanumpa. The old ones told me that this Chanumpa, the sacred pipe, the red pipestone, is the blood of your people. Today, people have to see things black and white before they believe it. Le weki le wash aki. Naha. Apetu aji ina kilakotapikte. Someday we'll be back to your sacred altar again. We have gone through the dark times, Freedom of Religion Act, 1978, Carter, former president. I am a spiritual leader of the Bigfoot Ride. As the riders are getting ready to go again this year, and the hardship, sub-zero temperatures. Been riding with the riders since 1986. Virgil Kirill Street had it, Wayambale. The first 4 years was very difficult. He said, we have to sleep with the horses and be around the fire. 1990, we did that ceremony. Being one of the spiritual leaders at Wounded Knee. I never knew that Chief Bigfoot was a relative from Cheyenne River. I heard the elders talk about that things would come back to our people. Now it's happening. The old ones told me about we don't leave nothing behind. A spiritual leader of 38 plus 2. The ride is going now. Now the walkers are going to Mankato. We're doing a ceremony at Mankato this day after Christmas. All these memorial rides, walk, still happening. Genocide is still happening. I remember the Owens say that, when we rode to Devil's Tower, 1996, to change that name, Devil's Tower, back to Matrotipila. And we put that message out to the former President Clinton. I listened to the elders long ago through that chanupa, through that pipe. They say that we don't own the land. We take care of the Black Hills, the heart of Mother Earth. All of us, the mind, the body, and spirit. The tripod of the sacred bundle has 3 poles: the mind, the body, and spirit. The sacred bundle, the red stone. The old ones say that was over 2,000 years ago when they brought that chanupa. That was the same time that they talk about the Black Book overseas. And today, we have our own creation story about the sacred sites, our sacred altars of Mother Earth. They are being abused. The blood of our people, the red pipestone, is being abused. We walk, we run to Pipestone, Minnesota, trying to protect our ceremonies, our sacred sites. This is our duty, our responsibility as a human being here. Every day, we stand in our sacred place. They say that whole Makocha is sacred to our people. But it's how you conduct yourself. So the teachings of the Chanupa still here. We're still here. The red pipestone is, no, today we have to see things black and white. They did testing on it and said, the reason why the red pipestone is red because it has the same amount of iron as it is in our body. We have it's made of fine crystal. And the elders said, hey, no, this modern age, people playing with that crystal, doing more damage than good. We've been trying to protect our ceremonies, selling of our ceremonies. Our people are having a hard time. When you have a Sundance, finish in 4 days. When you have Vision Quest, finish in 4 days. Those protocols to be a leadership. Being a leader is to think about the people, their health, and their well-being, healing. So we're faced with, I've been speaking at the United Nations since 1990s, talking about Mother Earth is sick and has a fever with all the indigenous nations of Mother Earth. Been working with a lot of tribes and nations, Canada. The first time they had missing murdered women in Vancouver, I was there. That pig farm. Now we have a lot of missing and murdered women and men. You know, the women are the backbone of our nation. I was asked to, I got invited to the rainforest, and they flew me and some of the people there to hear the voice of the tribes of the rainforest. And they put us through ceremony. To say that you're going to speak in public places. We're going to do a ceremony so you can help our voice here in the rainforest. From here on, you can see the people's lungs being affected because they're cutting down the trees. That's a similar story of Chesapa, the Black Hills. Back in the 60s, when it said, when the Black Hills, the heart, long time ago, you know, we live in ceremony, yet our ways are outlawed. On this turtle island, that turtle's back is our calendar. Right in the heart of that turtle island is that Chanumpa, who was brought here at a place called Devil's Tower. In our sacred language, there's good or bad. There's no word for devil. We speak about a lot of sacred language, different language. Been working with the language programs. So when I was young, you know, speaking the language, they always say, no, don't use foul language. But it hurts me to see a lot of young people, even children, using foul language in our homes. Then we complain about the environment. We think about our livelihood. Now we're a handful of people. When you think about when you go to different places, you think about the reservations. Our reservation is small reservations. When this whole Turtle Island used to be all red, you see that we are the people of this Turtle Island. So we need to really stand strong, protecting our ceremonies, our ways here. I was at Standing Rock, spiritual leader at Standing Rock. And we set up the Oceti Sakowin, the council. They said it was like over 150 years ago since they last had that council. And we talked about the horn. Right in the middle is that Chanumpa, the bundle keeper, my position. And we're going to stay on that Standing Rock. We're going to stay in prayer. We told everybody to stand up in prayer. We had more flags than United Nations all indigenous tribes came from everywhere, coming down that road, and all this flags standing there. When you come here, you can feel that energy because it's about prayer. It's about standing in prayer. And this is the original Oceti Sakowin, the council. And I know all of us had done a lot of work. But I know that a lot more challenges are going to come. The elders said we are spiritual people. And we'll always be that way. Yet I was asked by different places from East Coast, West Coast to pray for peace today. Even Nostradamus said that 2023, this continent would be faced with a war. And our spiritual leaders are nervous, and the elders are nervous because we don't want to send our children to fight a dirty war. But we have a prophecy with the white buffalo calf woman. After she brought that chanumpa, when she left, she told the people that someday I shall return and stand upon the earth as a white buffalo calf, black nose, black eyes, black hooves. That was 1994. Some of us went to that place. We had a lot of news media from all over the world that came to Janesville, Wisconsin. And we talked about a new beginning. No, we talked about earth changes and climate changes. 1996, when we journeyed back to Devil's Tower, I made a statement saying that we are at the crossroads. Either be faced with a lot of chaos, global disasters, tears from our relatives' eyes. Earth changes and climate changes. Volcanoes erupting, earthquakes. The winds are getting stronger. No more honorable wars. It's all about money. We're going to be faced with a lot of false leaders and false prophets. People getting up in the morning, nothing is good. Or we can unite spiritually as people of the earth. Because Mother Earth is sick and has a fever. Like the white buffalo calf woman said, when that happens, people shall unite because white animals shall be born all over the world. At this time, people will go back to their sacred sites and we look at them the way they're walking. Wala, Mayanikte. So we think about ourselves, how we were walking with our relatives, Are we praying with that medicine? Are we standing on our laws of that chanupa? I'm very honored to be here with all of you. And I pray that for the health and well-being, because there's a lot of sickness is happening. But that Changaleshka Wakha, that circle, there's no one person higher than the other. So we walk together again. And it's a new year. But I say prayers for the riders, the walkers, this difficult weather, and your travels everywhere. May we walk in peace. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you. Well, Pila, thank you, Orville. Hold on, Orville, I guess before we ask any questions, singers, get ready. We're going to come to you after this. So a question here by Ivan.
Oh, as a keeper, when are we going to be able to pray the bundle again?
This past Sundance, and I prayed on it. I put that bundle away because the way things are going in Greengrass, it was not good. I want to live in peace, like I said, and yet what's happened there, and you know very well of it, Ivan. So I brought that bundle out. This is the first time back in Little Bighorn, the sacred bundle was there. There's other sacred bundles over there. After Little Bighorn, our people scattered. All the medicine people, spiritual leaders were taken out. The chief's head were cut off, sent towards east, like Geronimo. And afterwards, the elders told me that the present keeper at the time, Alkid, he gave up that bundle because they were after him. And he turned himself into Christian. And that's where exchange went over to the sister. And that's how it came to my grandmother. And I became the next bundle keeper. The old ones, 1966, they told me that. They told me not to brag about it, that the name was very dangerous to the government, to be a bundle keeper. And Trashunka Wakita, looking horse, the name was dangerous to the government because looking horse was a bodyguard to Crazy Horse. And now you can see it on paper by Lance Durrell, who did all the research on different places where Crazy Horse went. So the Great Spirit chose me. And the elder said, if there's a decision that was ever made over our spiritual ceremonies, no, you would be the last to say so. As a Chanupa Wenka, you have that right. So this past summer, the first time they brought this sacred bundle from Canada to Greengrass. And I brought that bundle out at our Sundance. And I told the people, I said, whoever comes, we're not going to advertise. And that's where I brought that bundle out on the special occasions. But I know that you've asked me to bring that bundle out for the Oceti Sakowin. But I told you that I can't do that because you want to have a Sundance at Fort Yates. And I said, this bundle comes out once a year, whenever. So what happened is that I prayed on it and I brought the bundle out for the year this year. But you keep asking me. And I told you that. I said, you asked me to bring that bundle up because of Oceti Sakowin. I said no. Because you're inviting the president and other people. And you can't use it like that in a political manner. In fact, I said, when you started that Sundance in Steiner Rock, you should finish it where we set that tree of life, that ceremony. Finish it for 4 days, or 4 years. 4 days and 4 years. And then you give a whoopala and move on. So you never listen. You want to have a Sundance in Greengrass? Once a year. It's not a powwow. Our ceremonies are not a powwow. So I guess you didn't get to our Sundance. That's why you never know. You don't know what has happened there.
Toka hea tua yahi honip ki wopilon keni chabna. Inja le oyate ota hi honip na tok heshke dakwela kale wichasha ki le woglake. Wakanja el hi honip. Na inja chanupa opa hi wanyanke. Na wakala ota tima hi honip. Na inja lakol woglake ki le na inja wakan. Le Charlottesville he Na isha lewi chasha ki isha trehanta hihuni. Na isha tesami tra chanupa yuha mani. Na wanjila unha. Wanjila. Na takomni le na taku e chuk pihanta. Chanupa kile isha wakha. Na isha hena woke ju el ikwake. Na isha wia el hun wacheon kiap. Na isha wakala heon chap. Na takwela ka le chanupe. Takomni wocheke echela. Na misha trehanta wahihuni. Chawana le. I'm going to call upon Wendell, who has the Chief Red Cloud's chanupa, to bring some sage to smudge this room. My relatives, we don't do things this way. We don't fight each other. We have too many issues that are happening. We have missing and murdered Indigenous women. We have missing and murdered Indigenous men. Our elders are being neglected. Our young people are dying. Our young people are committing suicide. And these words of these elders are critical to us. You just heard from Claude. As Lakota people, we do that. We listen to our elders. There's many of you in here that have gray hair. No matter where you come from, you're Lakota. Na chantewan luhap. Na tachiman luhap. Na wacheke uhap. I'm really tired of this. I see a lot of young people dying. This shouldn't happen. We see our people killing each other. Guns are rampant. Come on, relatives. Nawachewa kinkte. We need to clear this out, clear this air. This platform isn't for that. This platform is how are we going to bring our treaties forward? We have a big fight. Trump might get back in office. We have to stand together to prepare for that. Because you know what? If he gets in, we're not going to have homelands. We're all going to be looking for a place to live. Look what he said about that pipeline. And it's leaking. You just heard how important water is. We need to get back on track, Mitakiepi. Nawachewa kinkte. Ho tunka shila holeam petuki. Ho omniche kile lawashtokte na ija duktek del trehantan oyate al hihuni. Na ija hena takuni shichink deshni na takuwaste ki echelakte. Na taku shiche ki he kaski yenkte. Tatuye topa le ampetuki. He unse unsha ho chiche na che chiche. Takomri oyate unshika he unchap. Na unshi unlapie. Wa unshila waluha. Na ikjewi chasha na ikjewi he unchap. Na lecha chanupa wa isha opaki yanke. Na isha he chanupa ki wopila ichichap. Da ya hi honip. Na isha tachi. Chante washte. Ho isha lel egna kapie. Na isha takuku e chung unkta. Ta hechi on kia pie. Ta komani mila haska. Ho isha takuku ipach e chung. Makoche mini. Naka keshke na unkie. Wogla ke unki tranki. Lena wakan. Cha isha tunkashila. Ahituana on kia pie. Na isya wakala ya hihunip. Na isya hena awala kokte. Na isya wakhanja ya hihuni. Hena awala kokte. Na isya tunkashila heonse. Isya resapa ki kile wakhan na heonse. Unsha hochiche. Na che chiche. Wia unshika hemacha. Ashta komani wocheke echela na wachewa ke wocheke na michi kumpie mitakwe oyase.
Oh, thank you. 1, 1, 2. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Someone turn the mic on. 1, 2, 1, 2. The mic. The mic. 1, 2. Okay. Look at me when I talk to you. You're controlling the mic over there. You're getting me getting me excited here. We're going to get back on track. We know that there's times to put things aside, and there's times to question. And I know that we have an agenda. We just kind of filled in the areas because Victor DeVille was one of the presenters, one of the elders, and he couldn't be here. But before we go to the singers, I want to recognize the Treaty Council. They're sitting way in the back. You can wave your hand or stand. One of them is Nick Outlooksback from Sichangu. One of the board members, the Treaty Council, also Delano Claremont. Please stand. And I don't know if Rose Stenstrom came. Also, the chairman here, Claude Tuelk. They're the ones that brought us together. I want to give them a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Napek upolila. Eche omenichak ilana ni chopi na ha lechon sa taku washteshte mongola kapikte. Na ha heche wapi lana ota kagapi. But to get to the point is we have a lot of treaty delegation. But there are only 2 treaties that we have to remember that. The 1851 and 1868. There are only 2 that was made to the Lakota, Dakota, Nakota, Kota, and up to Canada. We also have our own oral teachings, the Teoshpai, Oshpai, Tiwahe. But the paper that was signed back then was our ancestors have that faith by touching that pencil, agreeing to what is supposed to be established. Through that was the sacred Chanupa that is here. It was the honest ability and the truth to make that decision, as well as they brought their own Bible to say that they was going to follow that. Those were the 2 primary that was discussed back then. And we need to kind of get into that and understand. We know today things change. Hane Lakota Lakoya Wichoye Hena Umpi. Our Lakota words, Dakota words, Lakota words, there's only one meaning, and we stand by it. English language is very dangerous because there's one word we can fight over. 10 meanings in that Webster dictionary. We can fight over that meaning and say. And I always say that because English language is very dangerous, how you put it, how you say it. It hurts people. Our Lakota language, it doesn't. A lot of times, there were no jealousy. A lot of times, there were no hatred. Our ancestors had an open heart, open mind. One mind, one heart. And they stand by it. We know generations time changes. We look at technology nowadays. We used to have camp meetings, used to have meetings coming together, but now we can Zoom today. We can get on our phones today. It makes things a lot easier. But what's important for everyone to be here? Well, hell, I'm gonna have the singers sing a real honoring song, turn it over to them. Then after that, the chairman of the Oglala Sioux Tribe, Frank Stars, comes out, is here. He's gonna say a few words, and we're gonna turn it over to Rick Two Dogs. All right, thank you, singers. Thank you. Can you turn my mic up a little bit, sound man? At this time, I'd like to call upon the tribal chairman from the Oglala Sioux Tribe, Frank Stars, comes out. The new tribal chairman.
Good morning, my relatives. I'd like to say thank you for inviting me this morning. You know, one thing I like to mention is, you know, it's good to see, you know, these meetings happening. My some of the things I like to bring together is all our people. So throughout this campaign or this administration, I'm going to support um, these kind of efforts here because I'm still learning. I'm going to tell you that straight up, and it's it's good to see unity, but we need to be stronger. And I like to see more of more of our people unite and come together. I know I met a couple of chairmen and I talked to them even before I came on board as the president. We had a conversation and they want to speak and I want to try to unite everybody. I believe today it is the time to move forward. We need a change. Our people, we need a voice. We need to stand strong as a nation, as a Oceti, Sakowin. So I'd like to just mention that those are some of my goals is to unite not only at our own tribal levels, but as a Oceti, Sakowin. Because I believe once we all unite, we'll get that voice. And it's time for people in Washington to start listening to us. Decades over decades, we've been asking for this and that. Nobody's listening. And with that, I just want to say is thanks for having me. Thanks for being here today. I'm going to be in and out throughout the day. But I would like to meet all, shake hands with all you here, and welcome you um, to this conference here. With that, I'll turn it back over. Thank you.
Thank you, Tribal Chairman of the Oglala Sioux Tribe. Let's give them a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Frank Stars comes out. On our agenda, we're going to call upon Kola Rick Two Dogs. Lakota ceremonial calendar wogla kinktelo anagoptapo akulena wichoye ogla kapi na toshke hanehechu wapi lana ya wiki he kanta ha wichach bi kanta na makha kanta toshke lana he chumpi chahe ogla kinktelo. Sound man.
Check.
Okay, here, turn it on.
Test.
Go ahead. Turn it up a little louder. You turn it up a little louder. Turn it all the way, full blast. Namachumbo. Echilazata namachumbo. Can you hear me back there? Go ahead. Good morning. Hianiwaste chichapel. Lechalazata troska. It won't chunk it. Wena chahampina. Ikta dash. I'm gonna ambulance on you. Hoink. Ikta wana uchoch el taco I wog lacking to trokia wakan na kapi mitro captia. Let's come was you hear that in lazata. We choy lena michoni po prinkte betu kile taco I wog lacking to na we choch le lila mahetia. We choy ke ota aikwake hocha a kachbeka ewa ka trankte heche. Hocha le betu kile la colia echa la voga la king tiet inchi we chocha lena la cota ki on trapi na we choya ke lena na wons belena un kitrap hocha tu kteles ja abschopschos aber chicha wa hängt tiet hoas ja da kommen trecha lena juha ota ja pion kitrap lena o kakni ja wa to wa ki hoch ja wil ieskakt in het hashi veel hekta o kohe masak man kipre terwijl ook dus in keet heel ilala ja ki ho taku iwagala king ta honey bull ride ja money henaik ta ja spiritual calendar how ja wa to wa ki iwagala king lena honey tiwae checkte lena slowly no we charge the skat khamos peki ogana het ja on ja pi oil lena hocha ota lena ekdunsa o ashmo tiwaya checkte lena na hakti kiksuya pi hocha he hena o kichaka upi no muspeki chapi hocha lekshi tronkash lawama Thomas American horse chopped 1866 Trumpi 1963 te hocha watons na un happy American horse kill tias lechexti wane tu cha atoyaki kopri walk pamek don't gaki benes hitcha un as lila yokpish manil tiki he yokpi hocha ya wana wetu na wana moshteshtina o khata cha hekta ke galachincha un gaki bash hitcha asle wani tu cha le happy cha le Oceti ki ilea na ohunkan kan kapi taku ota wichoyake oyake ke han wichasha hitcha Hotalena iwoglak esna le wichachbi ta wichoyake elke wichocha ya aikwake o hena asno oyake no ekta un bas lecha khesapa ekta no tohni khesapa esni stoni paha sapa es wita paha esna wita paha ekta unyonk de Hocha hecha taku won ye na wasna na inawaki Which taku hancha hecha uyana bahala nekta. Mukirna na chanupa mangulahat so I check it. Na hecha le wa untap. Na hechel uyam kacha. Le ash 20 ha hechus 20 hektayesh ha. Ya chona la ayatik hecha umpi. So at this time, I'm going to talk about the spiritual calendar of our people. The star knowledge is all of this is under that, the teachings of that. So this morning they announced that the Toshkawa, they're taking blood pressure and glucose monitor and everything. So I didn't want to go over there because they might call an ambulance. I ate a whole bunch of cookies just now. They might call an ambulance for me. So gonna talk about this, and I was saying earlier I should do it all in Lakota, but unfortunately, a lot of the young people, and to no fault of their own, a lot of our young people don't understand the Lakota language, and this following this spiritual calendar. A lot of families through assimilation, colonization, the schools, they didn't teach any of these things. So a lot of it died out. But within the families, some of them kept that knowledge alive. So they still followed it. So I had a grandfather, he's born in 1866 and he died in 1963. His name was Thomas American Horse. And he lived in American Horse Creek. But in the winter, my father used to go. My father's descendant of his Tiosh by American Horse. Two dogs come out of there. So he would take him back to Pine Ridge where we live because he lived out there alone. He was afraid for him, so he would bring him in. So he stayed with us, and he told a lot of the history, a lot of these things that I'm going to talk about today. And we would make those journeys to the Black Hills, and he would take his chanupa and he would pray, and we would take offerings, wasna and cloth offerings, and we would make prayers, and he'll talk about these certain places. So that's how I picked up a lot of this knowledge through not only that, but historical places. After the Wounded Knee Massacre, him and his father, the Chief American Horse, went out there with some warriors, and they found a baby crying. They followed the sound of the baby crying, and they found this little girl. So she was lying under her mother. So my grandfathers wrapped her in a blanket, and they took her back to Pine Ridge. And in history, you hear that they couldn't find her relatives. That wasn't true. They found her grandmother, and these people called her at Pine Ridge in that camp. They called her Zintkala Nuni, lost bird. So they found her grandmother, and so her grandmother took her. But this Lieutenant Colby, he wanted a living relic, a trophy of war. So he wanted to adopt this baby, little girl. So he arranged it to where he adopted her. So they took her from the grandmother, and the grandmother hung on to her and cried, but they took her anyway. And this Lieutenant Colby took her to Nebraska, and they raised her over there. And she came home eventually, but these Washichus raised her, so she didn't have any knowledge of what it is to be Lakota. She was like a Washichu woman, and she had no knowledge of the protocols. So when she found her relatives at Cherry Creek, they didn't accept her. They kind of shunned her because she acted like a Washichu woman. So she was disheartened by that, and she left. And eventually she died out to California. So my grandfathers were the ones that found her at that time. So these knowledge of following the sacred calendar is passed down from generation to generation. So I chose the picture of Grandpa Sitting Bull here at this time. So the Hunkpapkas, I just put his picture there to honor him. So I'm gonna have how you my okay. Yeah. So the Lakota star knowledge is based on this concept. Taku mkhpek ta wakha, ki mkha ekta nakum wakha. So you see this design. This is the representative of what is sacred above is also sacred below. In Lakota, they say kapemini. The symbol is kapemini. So you see this design on a lot of people's beadwork and shields and different things like that. It represents that. And you see the tripod of the teepee beside it. This also represents it, that same symbol. Okay. So one of the things that is important to us is the understanding of our language, the understanding of the stories. Uh, so the medicine men say that how deeply each of us understands the stories tells us about the level we have attained in our own lives. So as human beings, Wahunupa, we walk through this earth, we encounter a lot of things. We encounter a lot of different people, different personalities. Some people who they're friendly, they're good people to be around. Then in our society, there's people that are ochashita. They don't like anything, they don't like anybody, they don't want to associate with anybody, and they never say anything good about anything. So we have different people like that within our societies. There's so when we understand the world around us, like Mr. Luckenhorst talked about, how our relationship to the environment and how we understand that depends on what level we reach as a person. So wo we chala ki he ho cha le tuegi ha ehni wo we chala ya he ha we chasha wa khan na da ku wa khan kbazup na da ku wa khan e chumpi. So that belief is important because our ancestors, these holy men, did miraculous things in front of the people. But today, right away, we've been taught that this isn't possible. So my mother, who was born in 1911, she talks about a Bispiza Wapia, a medicine man that used the power of the prairie dog. And his name was Prahin Sinte. So that from him, Porcupine Creek got its name. So she's seen him doctor a woman with tuberculosis. So he brought in this bag and his chanupa, and he brought a singer. And so he put this bag on the ground, and he formed that dirt that was in there into a prairie dog mound. Then he had the singer sing while he prayed. Humbologolake told his vision. He told that woman to watch the middle of that prairie dog hole. He said, if a prairie dog pops out and looks at you, I'll continue to doctor you. He said, if you don't see nothing, we'll just eat and we'll all go home. He said, because I can't cure you. So she was watching, and then she nodded her head. She said she's seen a prairie dog. So they turned the lights out and they continued to sing. And this lady said this prairie dog came out and climbed all over her and doctored her and sucked on the back of her lungs. And so she said she immediately could breathe better and she could take a deep breath.
When the ceremony was over, they lit the kerosene lamps, and he put his things away. So he flattened that dirt back out, and then he wrapped it into the bag. He carried it in. So if this man was alive today and he came to us and he was going to doctor this woman, how many of you believe that really did have that power? How many of you believe that the spirit of that prairie dog was there? How many of you believe that? Okay. So there's some that will not believe because we've been taught by the educational system that that's not possible. The first thing that a lot of people in our society today is there's some kind of a trick, you know. There's some kind of trick to that. I told this in a class when I taught for the college. One young man said he had a prairie dog hidden in his pocket. I said, "All right." So, honey, we So that belief is important. So I showed this picture and he said, that guy has a marshmallow on a stick and he's playing with it. I said, why? Mahpiatake to the heavens. Oral histories with the Lakota will teach us that nomadic hunting societies do not ignore the heavens. Like many other societies on the move, the Lakota use the stars as a guidepost for when to move on place to place on the Black Hills. So through the stars and the constellations, doske we chakpilena iotake kihe ayuptia. Honey, we chon. No, we wakam we chaka. Lena a chumpi. Oh, hey, it's a iwoglaka. So the ceremony coming up now on December 21st is Wani Choka. So the Tayamani Chankahu, the Orion's belt. So on December 21st, which Washichus call the winter solstice, all the planets line up east and west. And the Wanagi Tachanku, Washichus call it Big Dipper, is straight east and west. So that Wanagi Tachanku, the Milky Way, as Washichus call it, if you look at it, it symbolizes, the Sundance tree symbolizes that Wanagi Tachanku. So the sun reached its furthest point to the south, and its ecliptic path, Ampewi Trachunku, time for people to gather Chashasha, red willow bark. And the Lakota Oyate make offerings in their winter camps for the coming winter. So this is coming up in a week or so. December 21st is when we're going to do this. So you can see Tayamni Shankahu in the middle there, the three stars. There's also a story about an Unchi came from each star with a different dialect and taught our people. So that's where we got the three dialects of our people. So I talked about that in the past slide. It's wherever we were at, we made these offerings. And what we're commemorating or honoring is the sun reached the furthest. So on December 22nd, the sun will make its journey back towards the north. This is called Tayamani Pcha. Washichus call it Pleiades. So whenever the sun goes through this constellation, then we had long ago we would have the Wiwang Wachipi, and so and then this in the spring equinox we travel to Blackout Peak to make offerings there, and we welcome back the thunder. wakian ki lena wowichum kya kona woche ki unkaga machi bloke tu cha wokok pe aku tate tranka when you happy nish wase unkat abung wasu unkat ab okay wokok pe ka wakian ki ash ahani oyate wak when you happy na wakian lena wowichaka kapcha wach bala kupi ish ohumani iya. So we had men that had spiritual power with the thunder who could turn the storms or talk to the thunder so that they don't come in a destructive way. So this is a picture from far away of, it's now called Blackout Peak, but in the Lakota teachings, it's called Hihankaga Baha, impersonating an owl butte. And it's connected to the Wichenshala Shakumi, the seven sisters. And there's a story about how these children, these young girls died and they went up into the sky and appeared as stars. So there we all come back to Thunder, and a lot of young people are going back to this ways of following the spiritual calendar. There was like probably over 300 people there last year on March 21st. Some of you were there. So in welcoming back the Thunder, we talk to the Wakia, we take offerings, and then we take our Chanupa to this place, and we offer them on behalf of the people. Okay. So the next stop is in the spiritual journey is the Freshla, and in Lakota it's called Okeshlaya El Wowakwala, peace in the bare spot. And here we make offerings, and we have a wiping of tears for the animals and the birds. Zintkala na wama kashka. Na we acknowledge their losses too. Insha wota ke gunu wichagunonipi. Wachahel woche ke wichunktaga. Okay. So this is another picture of Krishna. So if we look at this, there's a picture of the Chesapa or Witapaha from they took from a satellite 10 miles up, and you could see the bare spot right in the middle of the map. And if you look at the Black Hills from the top, it looks like a human heart. So this is where we take offerings to the bird seeds, scattering of bird seeds, and we take a offering of a buffalo tongue for the people that are meat eaters and the animals that are meat eaters. We acknowledge them there. And we begin getting ready for the Sundance after this period for fasting. We go into Inipi, Ikpakintapi. And then the next place we go on the spiritual calendar is it's south of Sundance, Wyoming. It's called Iankaga. So there we gathered rocks for the Wiwangwachipi, and made offerings there and gathered the rocks that we need towards when we made our journey towards Devil's Tower or Ptehechota. So we made a stop there. So next is Matho Tipila, which is Gemini. So the constellation is the Bear Teepee, now called Gray Buffalo Horn. Devil's Tower is what the name the Washitras gave. Place of summer solstice Sundance. So the sun is the highest in the sky at this time. So we didn't never call it Devil's Tower because, like Tanashi Orville said, we didn't have a concept of the devil. I didn't know about the devil till I met my brother-in-laws. So the sun passes farthest south over Ptahejota, our Devil's Tower in the Wyoming. Now here's a picture of Ptahejota here. So we would gather, hundreds of years ago, we would gather by the thousands and have the Sundance there, the Wiwangwachipi. And at that time, there was only one Sundance for each band. So each band had their own Sundance. Okay. Then next is what we call Trate Hute, the source of all wind. Some people call it Washun Onie. But each, like I said, each Tioshpai had their own names for these sacred places. So there wasn't one word for everybody. So according to our creation stories, we emerged from the underground at this place, Wind Cave in the Chesapa. Here's a picture of the Sundance from the 1960s. Some of you remember that. Some of you were there. They would dance half a day, go out at 1 or 1:30. They would have grand entry and they would have a powwow. So one time, there was a carnival there too and a rodeo. They said, we're going to go back to the railway. Going to go back to like the 1960s. So I said, I'm going to have to get a carnival then. I said, this talks about the Wichaki Hapi. That's the Big Dipper. And there's a story about surrounding this. But in the star knowledge, it also represents the Chanumpa. So there's a point where the sun, which represents a petaka, it goes through the Big Dipper during Transhasa Ipusia, when that is on the spring equinox. And so it symbolizes the lighting of the pipe when that cold, which is the sun, goes through the Big Dipper. So that Big Dipper is called Wichaki Hapi. And there's a story about a Unchi that lives in the middle of the Big Dipper. Her name is Tomi. And she assists midwives with birth. And she lives in the center. They said that as soon as these women knew they were with child, they would go and make offerings to this Unchi, and she helps them at the time of the time they were during the time they're carrying the baby. So I had a grandmother. Her name is Helen Medicine Horse. Helen Two Dogs. She had this ability, what Washichas would call a midwife, but it was beyond that. She had medicines to induce labor, and she had a leather belt. According to my mother, she could turn the baby inside the womb in case it's going to be a breech birth. And she had different medicines to help afterwards, medicines to stop heavy blood flow and like that. And she would see the future of this child, this little boy or girl, this baby. She would tell them how they were going to turn out and what they were going to do. So she could make that prediction. So she did the Iowechai Junta ceremony where she cleaned the mouth of the baby. So when that happens, they say that you take on the traits of that person that does that for you. So she delivered me at home, 1951, during a blizzard and a thunderstorm. I was born. So she delivered me at that time. So this one I took from a graph that Victor Duville did, but the symbolism is of the Wichaki Hapi, or the Big Dipper, and how each star represents a spiritual law among our people. So Waonshila, Woksape, Wachantognanka, Wowachintranka, Wohitika, Waohola. So these things, when we think about it, how do we practice these spiritual laws every day in our own lives? Wa'ola, respect, is we see that every day, and how we break it in our community. Ehani, ehan kehan ogana heha, hena lila ogana maonuna, lila oyu oni hampi. We chokalena. We lived in these ways and we practice it. Something as simple as like among the Lakota people, we address each other. Check each out on Koyampi, we say. We address each other as relatives. Tahashi. So there's some sitting here. They got white hair like me. So I see them like Virgil Taken Alive, Mr. Mentz over there. Those are all Tahashi. Hankashi, the women my age. And we live by that. So we never have our differences in that. If we do, when we see each other, we still respect each other. We still say Tahashi. We still shake our hands. And one of the younger generation I notice is that when they have grudges, they don't let go. They hang on to those grudges. So there's even a story about I heard from Chris Eaglehawk. He said, "Ehani we chasha ki pata yang kapi na ga kawiyan ki ish yang pata yang gapi." So the men all sat in a group, the women all sat in a group over there. If these men have a dispute, they will talk about it, and then pretty soon they'll start joking about it, and they'll forget about their dispute. They'll kind of, as Washita says, gloss it over, so that it is no longer so powerful. See, that's how they were. So a lot of times, how they would diffuse the situation is shikshiliapi. They talk about kind of what we would say bad today. So that's how they diffuse the situation. So the times have changed. Another thing I see in my communities, a lot of young men try to like tease me. And long ago that was unheard of. The child she had white hair. They just took her out. I don't know who she is. Could tell she's up there in age. I couldn't imagine my Takoda right here going over and teasing her. He'll never do that, right, Takoda? Uh-uh. But now we break those protocols now. And he asked us, if you did that long ago when our parents were alive, our grandparents was alive, they would chew you up. The women will say. Like that. They wouldn't stand for that. See, you don't do that. You're gonna tease somebody. You tease within your age group. So like how I look at you, Toshka, Tahashi, here's Toshka right here, nephew. Here's Takoza, grandson, like that. See, so we live by those protocols. Kichiu oni hapi, ehani. Ojujuwahe lehan. Those things fell apart. They're no longer there. See, we've gone away from these spiritual laws. Something simple as wa'ohola, like that, the respect. Okay. So we talk about the Wichaki Hapi in the Inipi. That dipper represents the Wichaki Hapi. So we use that dipper, pour water onto the stones. And they still today use that concept. Some people, you see a burial, sometimes they don't use a casket today. They wrap them in a buffalo robe. They make this, looks like a kind of like a step ladder. They tie the body on there and they carry it. That's the Wichaki Hapi. And according to the star knowledge, they used that to bury the spirits. The spirits went into the sky, and that's how they carried that spirit, even though the spirit was alive. Okay. So the Tiikcha has a story behind it. So Ronald Goodman says in his book, he said that the teepee shape also mirrors the heavens. The three poles for the North Star, uh, the morning star and the evening star, 7 poles for the cardinal directions, and 2 poles for the ears, equaling the 12 months and the 12 stars. Morning, evening, 7 in the Dipper, 3 in Orion's belt. So he got this teaching from, some of you know him, his name is Zach Bearshield. He used to live at Wounded Knee. This teaching he taught to Ronald Goodman. So this is a picture of the star knowledge in the sky. So there's a Changaleshka, the one that runs around the constellations. Each constellation mirrors a certain ceremony on Earth. And where did we get this ceremony and these knowledge from? Was from the Pte Oyate. We followed these Pte Oyate. And through the Wichashawakan, they noticed these buffalo were at a certain sacred site the same time every year, which connected to how the sun went through the constellations. So we learned this from them. Also, our social system, we learned from the Pteoyate. So if you threaten a herd of buffalo, all the bulls come out. They come out and they're ready to fight you. They put the older buffalo, the females, and the calves in the middle, and they form an outer ring. So that's what we did a long time ago. When our people were threatened, then the warriors, the strongest warriors, went out to protect the people. They move in a certain way too. When they start to be threatened, they move in a circle. So somebody, Wichakhtala said one time, that's why when we dance in a pawa, we dance in a certain way. So you notice the men are supposed to be on the outside. And the Oglalas are the only ones that move a certain way. Those of you that, how many of you dance in a pawa? What direction do you go on that outside circle? Who knows? What direction do you go? Somebody said the opposite side. Okay. What direction did the Oglalas go? You go counterclockwise, right? Yeah, Oglalas go counterclockwise. Because that's how, if you watch these buffalo, the bulls do that. They go counterclockwise. Somebody said, oh, it's because all the Oglalas are hail cousins. So, Machpea Luta, whose Chanupa is right over there, he talked about how when we made these treaties with the Washichu, they wanted where the buffalo roamed within that, then where the buffalo roamed and the sacred sites. That's the land he wanted for a spiritual reason. There's other people, Washichus, wanted the land from us because of the resources that was there. But what was important to Machpea Luta is the importance of how that spiritual calendar is within that land there. So that's what he talked for. He said, there's a quote there that he says that we told them, the government officials, that the supernatural powers had given to the Lakota, the buffalo, for food and clothing. We told them that where the buffalo ranged, that was our country. We told them that the country of the buffalo was the country of the Lakota. We told them that the buffalo must have their country and the Lakota must have their buffalo. So he's talking about the importance of how we need to keep this land and the buffalo upon there, because he could foresee that that would be gone someday, and it happened not too long after that. Well, Pila, so close there. And I don't know. I couldn't allow one question. That's all.
Uh, any questions? He'll take 10 or 20.
One. I said, see, look, he's an older man. He's trying to run over me.
10 or 20 questions.
And
Anybody want to ask
and he'll answer
Rick
11 of them.
a question?
So, actually, I hold my eye. What's the call at me?
Any questions for Rick?
I'd like to say wupla. Taha lila wag lake.
Aho.
Wupla trunka.
Aho.
Ayu chunupa yaha wachikukaga. And I want to say that the star knowledge is our way of life. And honey, no, the elders that got together, and then they had a meeting in the early 70s in Rosebud. Stanley Lisbert, my grandfather, he was one of the people that did that star knowledge. They did a book. And at the time, the elders said that we need to write something about the star knowledge, and we're losing a lot of the elders, knowledge keepers. So, my dad was there, and they talked about the star knowledge and the vortex to the Great Spirit, Wakantanka. And at the time, the elders, they talked about the 12 teepee posts, where the three posts, and that's the way I heard from the elders, was it's a vortex to the Great Spirit, and on here, at the time, after the three posts is 12 teepee posts. Back then it was 12 of our people, of our Lakota, Dakota, Nakota people that, and that's the way they told me about that. They set up that bundle. Every time they set up a bundle ceremony, they use 12 teepee poles because it represents the 12 leaders. And 13th one is a woman, the backbone of our nation. And as a Chanupa Wanka, we all understand that, that the teepee is in a circle, and our ceremonies and everything's in a circle. So we have our spiritual laws about that teepee, and the women got to wear a dress when they set up that teepee, and how to conduct yourself. So what I heard too was like, there's life here with that Chanupa. It's about how sacred our life is, how sacred everything is. Everything has a spirit. And our ceremonies, and what you showed there, the wopre, the law of the Chanupa, wopre. And then, but when you get done our what the Great Spirit gave us on this with our sacred sites, then we make that journey and that Wanaki Chanku. And I never like the way they explained it was like it goes in a clockwise motion, like you said, everything goes in a clockwise motion. Even that Milky Way goes around the Earth, goes higher, connecting all the planets. Then it goes right into the sun. So the sun is a life giver, according to our ceremonies. That's why we have a sun dance in our sacred sites. Because all of our sacred sites is not man-made. And there you see all the markings and the teachings of the sacred sites. So here we have, today on this Turtle Island, that Chanupa, and I don't know if back then, on the Turtle Island they call it from the heart of is our territories that are Kea, Shante Naksha. Back then it was a ceremony to so I don't know how many people here have done that. When after you become a Bebela, then you become a young man, young woman. But there's a ceremony to eat that turtle's heart. To give you now, when you do that, you stand for Uchimaka. Kantaka gave you that blessing to live a long life here. And so that was a ceremony that I was told. And young man or young boy and girl, they swallow that turtle's heart. Because our life is supposed to be like a knowledgeable. The sacred knowledge of our ancestors. That's why we stand up when we do a prayer or a song. Because we have to always acknowledge that walk, that sacred knowledge. As a common person, now we have to earn that right to represent our people. But today there's so many. I would say back in the day when nobody wants to be Indian. Now today there's so many like this. A lot of women trying to be white buffalo calf woman, and everybody wants to be Hioka. No, but I want to say that we got to stay strong with our knowledge. So, and now Wopila, thank you, Wopila, for doing the star knowledge.
Oceti, Wopila, Tashi. Ona hektakele. Wakuktil.
Echitula. Thank you, Rick. We're going to call upon the singers to sing a honoring song, a good presentation by one of our medicine men from Porcupine, Rick Two Dogs. Pia Wogalakina, Woychuncha, Wopila Tranka Hechalo. Na iglushtanki, Okao Olo Api Glushtanki, Tashi, Diki Muska for Chinia Picte, Woyute Yaha and Chonkia Pictacha, Lecha Dikia Uki, Woyute Yaha, Wochikia Gahokte. So we're going to call upon the singers at this time to render a very beautiful song, and then we're going to call upon Tashi Dicky Muscamp to come on up and after this song to do the meal prayer, and then we're going to go right into our lunch. Lunch will be from 12 to 1. And we're going to get back right into our agenda at 1 o'clock. International Treaty Rights with Andy Reid will be first on our agenda. Royal. Toshka Oceti Shakoyo Lohe. We're going to slayab hanta ayapo. Echituelo, thank you, singers. 7 Council Fires. A song was originally made by Tanashi in memory of Marty. Makes room for them. Olo he kagicha, opila hechalo. We're going to have Tanashi Dicky Muscamp say the meal prayer at this time.
Oiche, on petu kele yuha, santoa ste on hipik on he wopilon kep. On on petu kele wo achwala, na ha wo yushke, we chose on you henecha. Trokata kia wo yuanke, and a wo te kele na lu pejutak. Mitakwe iata up on izani pikte, on a ha. Oiche Tanzania, we chose on ya ke pejit hom gali yuktelo. Oiche tu mitakers.
Oh, wopilalo. Okay, lunch is ready.
Trikata lana oni chakti.
Cafeteria style. help yourself out there. Lunch is ready. We're going to get right back into our program at 1 o'clock. So remember to come back at 1 o'clock.
I also want to announce that Lita Brandis is in the house.
Andy, 1, 2, 1, 2. How are you? Good, good, good. Good to see you. Yeah, I was wondering, can I reschedule that somewhere? Yes, do that. Yes. All right, thank you. Okay. Thank you. Hello, what are you doing? Find a place. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Oh, good. Thank you. I probably could get you one in town. You got to sign it. Usually they have one there. You were telling me sometimes. Travel form. Really? Gee, where did it break down at? Oh, they was giving us lunch, potato salad, pork, salad, greens, and that's it. Kind of little animosity between Orville, Ivan, and Orville. I had to straighten it out. Other than one pretty good. I'll tell you, he sang this morning. So. I'll tell you, he has your drum good. They're still kind of still back and slippery. Oh, it didn't start there, maybe. I don't know. Well, they got four Suburbans there too, so they should be all right. Get back to them. Oh, all right. Well, let me know if they dilate your eyes or something. Don't drive. All right.